sahajalah. 678. Okay. So 678 bermaksud bahawa you ada 6 data sahaja. 6 data sahajalah you ada. So 6 data you boleh nampak pattern ke?
So doktor, kalau kami tak pakai Southwest Monsoon tu, kami just buat macam untuk the whole year, boleh?
Boleh. Saya tanya kamu, you boleh buat tahun 2016, katakan you nak pakai 3 bulan punya data pada bulan 2013, tetapi you tak boleh pakai monthly data. You boleh pakai weekly data. You kena pakai weekly data. Weekly data bermaksud bahawa kalau you ada 3 bulan bermaksud bahawa you ada 12 data untuk 2015, 12 ataupun 13 data, dan juga 12 ataupun 13 data, weekly data tahun 2013. Okay. Kalau katakan you ambil pada bulan Jun, okay, sehingga bulan Ogos, Jun, Julai, Ogos, okay, ataupun September, 4 bulan, 4 kali 4, you ada 16 data, okay, 2015 dan 16 data 2013. So, you ada lebih kurang 32 data. So, 32 data bila you buat statistical punya analisis, correlation ke, okay, dia valid lah sebab kita tahu bahawa bila you buat statistical analisis, okay, di minimum data is 30 points. Okay. So, you tak boleh pakai monthly lah. Monthly you cuma ada 4 ataupun 6 ataupun 8 paling banyak data.
So kita orang ubah tahun tu je lah, tukar jadi weekly lah.
Tahun you kena pakai sebab El Nino dia starting from November 2015. Okay. Dia memang dah start pada tu, dia peak 2015. So you kena check balik lah sama ada dia cover dah bulan Julai ataupun bulan Ogos 2015. Okay. So you can ingat the impact of El Nino, okay, especially temperature, dia lag lebih kurang 2 bulan hingga 3 bulan. Katakan dia peak pada bulan Ogos, bulan Januari, dan biasanya SST, okay, you akan nampak dia peak pada bulan, okay, Februari, bulan Mac ataupun bulan April. Okay. So dia punya impact kepada ocean ni dia lambat sikit.
Alright, Doctor.
Ataupun kalau you nak fokus kepada El Nino, you tengok dia punya peak bila. Katakan dia peak pada November 2015. Okay. Dia peak pada November 2015. Okay, yang biasa kita buat adalah kita ambil 3 bulan yang paling awal dan 3 bulan selepas tu. Okay, bermaksud bahawa you ambil daripada September, Oktober, November, okay, sehingga Disember, Januari, Februari. You focus on this month. Okay, SON DJF. Okay. Dan begitu juga untuk tahun katakan 2013, normal year. Okay, bila masa dia punya owning index paling rendah, katakan dia, okay, tapi you kena fokus jugalah, you kena cari yang bulan yang sama seperti bulan El Nino. Okay, you tak boleh compare, katakan you ambil untuk El Nino, September, Oktober, November, Disember, Januari, Februari. So, you tak boleh compare kepada lain-lain bulan lah, you kena compare pada bulan yang sama, okay, di mana berlakunya El Nino. Okay. Bermaksud bahawa tahun 2013 tu tak semestinya dia tahun 2013, mungkin tahun sebelum tu dia ada dia punya El Nino dia adalah rendah lah ataupun dia bukan Nino years. Okay.
Alright,
Okay.
Doktor.
So kalau you nak fokus kepada southwest monsoon, lebih pada southwest monsoon ada impact sikit. Okay, you boleh ambil 3-4 bulan semasa southwest monsoon. 2013 pun sama. Okay. So bila you compare 2 tahun saja, you kena pakai ni lah weekly punya data. Okay, so ada apa-apa lagi nak tanya? Afika, Amir.
Abang masa ni tak ada.
Okay, so tajuk tu lebih kepada ni, okay. Apa nama? Study ataupun you boleh tulis situ changes of SST. You buat chlorophyll sekali ke?
Doktor.
Changes of SST and chlorophyll during El Nino and non El Nino year, for example. In coastal area of Sabah. So next Siti Nur Zahira dan Fatin. Okay, sama.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. So, saya dan Zahira akan explain pasal our tentative mini project. Our title of mini project is the correlation between sea surface temperature and the sea surface wind driven in South China Sea. Next, the major aims of our project is to understand and investigate the role of sea surface temperature in driving the seasonal cycle of atmosphere, which is the surface wind in the South China Sea. Second, to analyze the relationship between sea surface temperature and surface wind driven in the South China Sea by using a map. Next, this is the map of our study area, which is the South China Sea. We mainly focus to South China Sea because South China Sea reveal a pronounced seasonal variability under the influence of East Asian monsoon. And South China Sea also exhibit the interannual variability.
Okay, for the type and source of data to be used, I'm gonna have 3 type of data, which is wind speed, in direction, and SST anomaly. Okay, for general method, first, I'm gonna take the download data from the NASA Ocean Color, which is 3 data, as I mentioned before. Okay, next, I'm gonna from the wind speed and wind direction data, we're gonna create a graph time series using the Excel, and then I'm gonna have special pattern of SST during that rate that we're gonna choose, and from the result that we get, we're gonna do correlation between the SST and also the wind speed and wind direction. Okay, for the expected result, so we're gonna have 4 expected result, which is wind stress plays an important role in determining the trends of the SST. Second, the warming rate of the SES extracted in the years after the El Nino event. Third, the difference in the warming trends may be induced by the change of wind stress. And fourth, stronger linear trends of wind stress are found in winter than in the summer for most of the SES basin, especially in the northern part. That's all from us.
Okay, thank you. So, berapa lama you punya analysis? Okay, data?
Okay, for the in this ni kami akan pilih 10 tahun. 10 tahun yang mana kami ambil data setiap tahun. Kami akan ambil setiap bulan for each year, which is so the total data yang kami akan dapat ialah 120 data.
Okay, so this one is more to see seasonal kan, seasonal patterns kan. Punya impact of winds on SST or impact of SST on wind?
impact of wind on SST.
Mana datang dulu? Panas dulu ke ataupun datang angin dulu?
Angin kot je.
Dia mestilah temperature dulu baru dia datang angin kan? Betul tak?
Temperature dia sebab sun dulu kan.
So, so saya ingat you punya tajuk tu dia lebih kepada seasonal lah. Seasonal dynamics of wind and SST. Dia bukan correlation. Seasonal dynamics of winds of SST and surface wind. Okay, in SST. So dalam tu you boleh ada you boleh tengok dia punya correlation lah. Dia punya interrelationship between SST and winds. That one, you punya specific objective.
Alright, Doktor.
Okay.
Doktor, untuk study area, okey je kan?
Saya kira tak ada masalah pun. Okay, so kalau you rasa dia besar sangat, you boleh kurangkan. So saya ingat dia tak adalah sampai kat luar ni, dia kat sini kita tak panggil South China Sea, kita panggil Southern. Kalau you kata South China Sea, tu sampai ke China tu. Okay, this one adalah Southern South China Sea. Okay, so Southern South China Sea, you boleh ambil daripada you punya ni Ho Chi Minh sampai ke bawah tu je. You tarik sampai ke bawah tu.
Okey, baik Doktor.
Okay, terima kasih Zahira.
Okey, terima kasih Doktor.
Yes, so next Azizul dan Afiq. Okay, study of chlorophyll upwelling zone in east coast of Peninsula Malaysia. Okay, Azizul and Afiq.
Okey, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera doktor dan juga rakan-rakan yang lain. InsyaAllah sekejap. InsyaAllah kumpulan kami adalah kumpulan 9. Saya, Azizul dan juga Afiq akan terangkan berkenaan dengan mini projek kami iaitu Study of Chlorophyll A and Upwelling Zone in East Coast of Peninsula Malaysia. So the title is Study of Chlorophyll A and Upwelling Zone in East Coast of Peninsula Malaysia. And our major aims is determine upwelling zone by detecting the concentration of chlorophyll A in East Coast of Peninsula Malaysia. And the study area is East Coast of Peninsula Malaysia, which is in Johor. And the type and source of data, we will use the level 2 data from Ocean Color website.
For the general methodology, first we projecting the image, view image in RGB, place different pins to several water types, display spectrum view, process image using bandmass, and display profile plot and correlative plot. Okay, the expected result the green band is high and blue band is low near the coastal area. High concentration of chlorophyll A means there are high amount of phytoplankton in the area. The absorption spectrum of chlorophyll A includes wavelength of blue and orange light and not absorbed green light. So that's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, so you kata upwelling zone, dekat mana upwelling zone di Peninsula Malaysia? How do you identify the outwelling zone in Peninsula Malaysia?
Kalau concentration chlorophyll tinggi, kawasan tu upwelling sebab productivity tinggi.
Dia tak semestinya kalau coastal area, okay, so dia bukan impact daripada upwelling, dia impact daripada freshwater punya runoff. Sebab you kata upwelling zone in east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. So you boleh fokus dekat upwelling zone, tapi you kena tahu dekat mana upwelling zone.
So kira kami kena pilih tempat yang ada
Yang di report ada upwelling.
Oh, baik. Okay.
Okay, so you kena cari paper daripada Dr. Faisal apa? Dr. Fazil. Okay, you baca paper daripada Dr. Fazil, dia kata ada upwelling dekat dengan coastal water of Kemaman. And then kalau you nak fokus kepada upwelling area, upwelling zone, and then you boleh refer you punya upwelling zone, okay, based on studies by Dr. Fazil and lain lah, okay, and then you focus on that area saja, okay, focus on that area saja, and then you tengok dia punya chlorophyll concentration. So berapa lama dah ni yang you nak ni?
Kami sedang dalam 5 tahun data monthly.
Okay, 5 tahun monthly. Okay, so why you pakai level 2? Kalau
kami keliru nak guna level 2 ke level 3 tu, kami letak level 2 dulu.
Level 2 is a daily So kalau nak pakai monthly dia adalah level 3.
Level 3, okay.
Okay. And then you punya title tu study of chlorophyll and upwelling, okay. You boleh kata chlorophyll concentration, okay, in upwelling zone, okay, of East Coast of Peninsular Malaysia. Okay, ataupun you kata seasonal chlorophyll concentration, okay, in upwelling zone in East Coast, okay, Peninsular Malaysia. Okay. Dan satu lagi you punya expected result tu, itu bukan expected result expected result you kena reflect kepada you punya objektif. Kalau objektif you nak tengok dia punya chlorophyll concentration ataupun chlorophyll dynamics, so you punya expected result is the dynamics or the changes of chlorophyll concentration during different season in upwelling area. Okay. So you buat title and then you punya scope, okay, you kena cari paper Dr. Fazil
Okay, baik.
Okay, dia ada tunjuk kat mana kawasan yang dia expect berlakunya upwelling dekat East Coast. And then you focus on that area saja. Okay, terima kasih Azizul Afiq. So, okay, sama Fatih dan Adam Akmal. Okay, tajuk analysis of different off-season temperatures of west monsoon and north-east monsoon and the correlation panjangnya to the upwelling system at South China Sea.
Hello Dr. Assalamualaikum Dr. dan semua.
Salam.
Boleh dengar suara Dr?
Oh, kuat sangat boleh dengar.
Oh, boleh kuat sangat. Okay. Okay, jadi this is our mini project proposal for the satellite oceanography, Adam and Fatih. Okay. So tentative title analysis the difference of sea surface temperature during southwest monsoon and northeast monsoon and the correlation to the upwelling system at South China Sea. Next. Okay, ni adalah our major aims. Yang pertama, the difference to identify the difference of sea surface temperature. The second one, to find the comparison of nutrient during two monsoon, which is southwest monsoon and northeast monsoon. And the third one is for to identify the productivity of the marine life, which is related to the nutrient sources. Our next, this is our study area, which is South China Sea, and close sea to our country. Maksudnya dekat dengan negara kita lah, dekat our coastline, our coast area. Okay. Next, type and source of data that we use. Pertama sekali level 2 data. Cumanya untuk data ni untuk data level 2 kami tak sure juga nak guna level 2 ataupun level 3. Sebab
Dia
kami guna
level-
monthly. Sebab macam
Dia level 3 monthly adalah level 3.
Okay, jadi kami akan tukar kepada level 3 punya data. And then kami juga akan guna both Aqua and Terra sebab nak dapatkan precise data. Sebab nak kurangkan error.
Missing
Okay, next is
data.
missing in data. Okay, next is data during monsoon. Kami guna dua, southwest monsoon dengan northeast monsoon. Sebenarnya untuk data ni kami ambil 3 fasa, which is kami nak compare fasa permulaan, fasa develop punya fasa, lepas tu dia punya peak punya fasa, lepas tu dia punya decay punya fasa for each monsoon lah. Okay, next. For the methodology, first step, download data. Second step, load SST data to ISOSNAP. Step yang ketiga, merge the data between Aqua and Terra. Step yang keempat, display the data. Step yang kelima, analyze the data and compare the average data between each phases. Dan step yang terakhir, discuss the result. Next. For the expected result, ni apa yang kami dapat secara overview lah, secara overview untuk daripada from Sahih et al 2007 said southwest monsoon induced upwelling of cold water lead to lowest SST in summer, while in glacial period weaken upwelling and increased cooling by northeast monsoon wind may have result in lowest SST in winter. So daripada saya ni bagi tahu yang forecast monsoon, dia kedua-duanya mempunyai SST yang rendah. Cumanya dia punya for southwest monsoon tu disebabkan oleh upwelling, manakala untuk northeast monsoon tu disebabkan oleh dia punya precipitation and dia punya wind. Yang tu. Lepas tu data yang expected result yang kedua adalah comparison of nutrient. So nutrient during southwest monsoon is high compared to nutrient during northeast monsoon. For the yang third, comparison productivity during southwest monsoon is high compared to productivity during northeast monsoon, and the last one is comparison upwelling. Upwelling is strong during southwest monsoon and weak during northeast monsoon. So that's all from us.
Okay, so you pergi buat objektif dulu sebelum saya komen on title. Okay, so you punya objektif ni kalau saya tengok, okay, kalau saya dilihat daripada title dia adalah analysis of SST during southwest monsoon, okay, northeast monsoon and correlation of upwelling system. Okay, so dia tak kena dengan you punya objektif ni. Objektif you adalah SST, the difference of sea surface temperature, that means seasonal changes of SST yang you nak tengok. And then the comparison of nutrient, macam mana you nak calculate, identify nutrient.
Untuk nutrient tu kami tengok bukan nak calculate, just macam nak include nutrient ni sebagai satu data sebab kami nak tengok besok nak upwelling punya tu. Upwelling punya.
Macam mana you dapatkan data nutrient?
Maybe dapatkan daripada ni kot yang SEM lepas punya punya
SEM lepas?
yang guna World Ocean Data.
World Ocean Data?
SEM lepas kot lah tu.
Apa maksud you nutrient pada world ocean data? Dia cover ni ke? Dia cover you punya study area ke?
Untuk tu kami tak sure lagi sebab kami tak tengok lagi benda tu dia cover dekat area tu ke tak. Cumanya kalau ni based on my opinion lah sebab sebab world ocean data kan kita boleh collect banyak info based on daripada nutrient, chlorophyll dari sudut benda macam tu lah.
That one is lebih kepada interpolation. Dia bukannya dia ada in situ punya data. Okay, so bila you sebut sebagai nutrient, okay, nutrient actually, especially you tak boleh observe daripada satellite data. Okay, you tak boleh observe daripada satellite data. So saya rasa you punya objektif ni dia sama macam yang ke atas tu. Seasonal changes of chlorophyll actually, dia bukannya nutrient sebab bila you sebut sebagai nutrient, you kena buat study pasal nutrient. You kena buat study and then you kena make sure nutrient punya data tu yang tak boleh didetect melalui satellite tu ada. Bermaksud bahawa dia ada institut data yang orang dah buat setiap tahun, setiap bulan, collect data dekat dia punya kawasan. Dan yang ketiga tu saya tak nampak dia sebagai objektif productivity of marine life. Iaitu dia sama macam you punya second objektif tu, seasonal dynamics of chlorophyll. Yang pertama seasonal dynamic of SST, yang kedua seasonal dynamics of chlorophyll. Dia bukan nutrient Nutrient you kena ada data baru you boleh buat. Kalau tak ada data tak boleh buat. Yang ketiga tu productivity tu dia kita refer kepada chlorophyll. Kita assume chlorophyll as a proxy to primary productivity. Dia benda yang sama. Dan balik semula kepada you punya tajuk tu, saya nampak apa yang you nak buat dia sama macam Azizul dengan Afiq. Sebab you kata kat situ you nak correlate kepada outwelling system. So bila you kata outwelling system, you kena tahu dekat mana kawasan outwelling. Dekat South China Sea, dekat mana? So dekat South China Sea, ini South China Sea yang biasanya ada outwelling adalah dekat kawasan perairan Vietnam. That one is a very clear outwelling. Tapi kalau you nak fokus kepada perairan Malaysia, you kena refer paper daripada Dr. Fazil. Dia di luar coastal area of Kemaman tu. Walaupun kat kawasan kita ada outwelling tetapi dia incomplete outwelling. Bermaksud bahawa outwelling tu dia tak sampai ke surface. Dia tak sampai ke surface. Dia lebih kurang 20-30 meter from the surface. Dia underwater outwelling sahaja. That's why dia punya chlorophyll concentration dia tak nampak ataupun dia tak meningkat dengan banyak berbanding dekat kawasan Vietnam. Dia ada apa yang kita panggil sebagai Vietnamese coastal jet. Itu adalah kawasan outwelling. So you punya tajuk satu terlalu panjang, dia tak perlu analisis pun. So saya nampak apa yang you buat ni dia lebih kepada adalah seasonal dynamics of sea surface temperature during southwest and northeast monsoon in ataupun at outwelling area in the South China Sea. Yang pertama sekali you kena identify area of outwelling dekat mana. Dan yang kedua you kena identify dia punya month of southwest and northeast monsoon. Bulan berapa you nak pakai. Boleh faham Fatih, Adam?
Boleh.
Masih
Cuba next slide Adam. Lagi, okay, study area. Okay, study area tu you kena identify, dia tak boleh South China Sea lah, dia terlalu besar. Okay, data you pakai Mei, September. Mei dia bukan Southwest Monsoon Southwest Monsoon kita consider daripada June to September. June tu adalah, okay, dia baru start Southwest Monsoon. September adalah end of Southwest Monsoon. Oktober, North East Monsoon dia bukan start pada Oktober, dia start daripada November sehingga March. March tu dah penghujung lah. So, to be safe, you pakai data daripada November to February. Okay. And then next. Okay, lagi. Okay, expected result pun sama juga tadi. So, dia tak ada comparison nutrient. Nutrient, you kena ada data nutrient. So, you tak ada data nutrient pun. So, comparison of productivity, dia bukan productivity. You letak chlorophyll concentration je. Ini comparison of outwelling. Okay, so dia bukan comparison of outwelling. You tengok dia punya dynamics of chlorophyll concentration, okay, at outwelling area. Okay, so you kena identify ataupun determine the outwelling area in South China Sea lah. Okay, so sama ada you nak buat dekat Vietnam ke, okay, ataupun nak buat dekat East Coast of Peninsular Malaysia. Saya recommend you buat dekat dengan East Coast of Peninsular Malaysia ataupun you buat di Sabah. Yang saya kata tadi dia ada offshore punya outwelling, okay, dekat dengan continental edge. Okay, di luar perairan Sabah itu adalah coastal outwelling. Dia ada offshore outwelling di situ. Okay, so you nak fokus kat situ. So nanti you kena ni ubah you punya ni. Okay, so next adalah tapi sebelum tu saya nak stop 5 minit, saya pergi toilet jap. So 3:55 tu kita ni balik pergi toilet.
Okey, doktor.
Okay, so Adilah dan Aisyah.
Dengar tak, Doktor?
Dengar. Okay.
Okey, kami daripada grup 11, Ansha dan saya Adila. Title kami Studies of the Detection Limit on Coral Reef and Climate Change in Malaysia. Major aims to investigate the trend of climate change on coral. Ini study area, dekat Peninsula kita ada perhentian Bidong, Kapas, Tenggol, Pulau Bangkor. Kalau dekat Sabah kita ada Labuan, Lahad Datu, Pompom. Ni study area dekat Sarawak, Miri. Aisyah.
Doktor dengar?
Dengar.
Okay, untuk type source of data to be used, actually kita rujuk kepada CRW, which mean Coral Reef Watch Program, bawah NOAA, yang mana provide remote sensing and in situ data. Situ juga dia akan provide warning system Coral Reef ecosystem dengan yang terbaru adalah 5 km satellite coral bleaching. Untuk pada awalnya kita akan guna untuk dapatkan data SST tu kita akan rujuk pada Ocean Color level 3. Maksudnya kita akan dapat melalui data dan data tu represent on map. Untuk melihat dia punya line of temperature kita boleh create isotope dan juga untuk map tu we can create the false color map. NetD. Okay, ini untuk jenis metodologi yang saya katakan sebentar tadi. Kita akan locate the coral reef and look at the SST data which is from color ocean data and terus kepada isotope and represent on map with a fast color map. That's it. Next D. Untuk expected result sebenarnya kita orang punya projek ni dia macam timeline coral bleaching. So kita boleh ambil 10 tahun which is 2009 until 2019. Kita boleh tengok LCC is refer for large coral cover which is LCC always have up and down and the worst decline LCC is during 2015 or 2016 which is El Nino happened and also the major bleaching event happened. And in Malaysia, the major effect in Terengganu in 2019 which is Pabuk storm also affected the coral bleaching and all these physically damaged. That's all.
Okay, so Adilah, Aisyah, okay, you kata the detection limit. What do you mean by detection limit?
Actually, first we want to discover about how coral reef survive, which is what their limitation on to survive, which is they have a factor like warm water, climate change, and NIA, which is nutrient indicator algae. But I realized that we far from that tentative title. That's like we change to the timeline coral reef and climate change in Malaysia.
Okay, so in terms of methodology, saya tak nampak pun how you're going to analyze or to identify detection limit of coral reef. Okay, so you akan pakai data SST.
Untuk data tu sebenarnya antara mainly antara SST ataupun Coral Field A sebenarnya.
Ocean color.
Ocean color.
Ah.
So you tak pakai coral temperature. SST coral temperature.
Actually, saya sebenarnya confuse antara coral temperature dengan SST. Macam differentiate between SST dengan coral temperature tu, Doktor.
So you dah masuk Coral Reef Watch punya website.
Dah masuk.
Dah masuk dah.
So apa yang dia kata pasal coral temperature? How they calculate the coral temperature?
Coral temperature ni based on dia punya heating, weekly heating. Sekejap, Doktor. Coral temperature. Sorry, Doktor. Lambat sikit. Coral temperature which is yang water temperature cannot tolerate below than 18 Celsius, Doktor.
So kalau saya masuk kepada Coral Reef Watch and Satellite Monitoring ni, coral temperature ni dia adalah SST biasa je, tetapi dia ambil data daripada NOAA. Dan datanya dia bagi adalah daily punya data lah. So SST saya tak ada masalah. Yang jadi masalahnya adalah you punya scope kepada coral detection limit. So what's the temperature limit for coral bleaching?
18 to 29.
Okay, that one based on daily punya data kan? Tetapi, so kalau you buat daily punya data, so you have to identify lah, berapa banyak data you nak pakai.
Okay. Doktor,
Ya.
saya ada
Tak dengar.
soalan. Okay, contoh macam projek ni. Okay, contoh projek ni
Ya.
buat coral reef dalam masa 10 tahun which is 2009 until 2019. Benda dia punya whole project ni boleh digunakan dalam mana-mana modis which is aqua dengan terra. So which one is the best?
Apa maksud you the best tu? Antara aqua dengan terra? Dia sama je. You kena ingat aqua, aqua dia overpass, at our area lah, at 11 AM. And terra at 1:30 PM, tengah hari. So there is a difference in SST value between these two data. Satu dia ambil pukul 11 pagi, satu dia ambil pukul 1:30 pagi. In term of accuracy, dia kita boleh kata accurate lah. Okay, sebab SST ni dia mudah je nak derive dia punya parameter.
Okay, Doktor. Ada
Okay.
satu lagi soalan. Okay, macam tadi kalau kita nak dapatkan core temperature ni mesti kita guna daily data kan. Adakah lebih baik kita guna kita dapatkan data tu sepanjang 10 tahun which is 2009 hingga 2019 ataupun kita fokuskan kepada beberapa tahun. Contohnya 2015 hingga 2016.
Kalau you pakai monthly, it's better for a longer periods lah. More than ataupun 10 years lah. Tetapi itu yang tak di-issue. Jadi issue je macam mana you nak relate kepada coral. Sebab you kata establish baseline and monitor a coral reef location and then tengok detection limit dan sebagainya. Okay, and then you kena identify coral punya area lah. Okay, the problem is kalau you pakai NOAA dan ataupun you pakai MODIS, okay, the resolution is about 1 kilometer. Okay, so in our area, okay, the coral reef, okay, is are very isolated. Kita tak ada macam di Australia. Okay, dia ada great barrier reef. It's a very large areas. Kalau you nak fokus in term of detection limit, okay, so kawasan coral reef dekat, you tengok kat Bidong dekat ni, it's a very small area, tak sampai pun 1 kilometer. SST tak ada masalah. Macam mana you nak relate kepada coral? Itu yang jadi masalah. Kecuali you ada kawasan yang besar lah, macam di Australia.
Okay, Doktor.
So, saya ingat you kena fikir you boleh pakai, saya tak tahu sebab dalam Coral Reef Watch ni dia ada Coral Tab, dia bagi daily punya data. Dia sebenarnya sama je SST dia. Dia cuma dia ambil daripada NOAA dan juga dia buat interpolation lah. Interpolation tu dia nak fill in the missing values, itu saja. Okay. So, saya ingat you kena dibalik lah macam mana kalau you nak buat coral, macam mana you nak relate in term of detection limit lah dan sebagainya. Okay, so berapa you punya objektif lah? Objektif you. Trend of climate change. Okay. So, saya tak nampak macam mana trend of climate change on coral bleaching. Okay. Yang pertama, yang masalah dia adalah you kena identify, okay, di coral bleaching punya area. Kita tak tahu kat mana yang coral tu bleach, kat area mana. You kata coral bleaching kan, coral bleaching. Macam mana you nak tengok? You nak relate kepada SSC trend and coral bleach. Kalau you ambil kata 10 tahun data, tak ada data yang ada monthly punya data coral punya health lah. Kalau you ada coral health system ke, ada orang buat every month selama 10 tahun, 5 tahun, you boleh buat correlation.
Okay, Doktor.
Okay, so saya ingat you kena ni balik lah, okay, buat yang simple, okay. You boleh buat juga in term of primary productivity. Okay, so dia ada data primary productivity daripada WPGM punya data. Dia ada website dia yang you boleh download. Okay, and then you boleh tengok impact of SST on primary productivity. Okay, so kalau you buat long term punya data, and then you boleh correlate kepada climate change lah. You tengok trend, okay, especially katakan di Strait of Malacca ke, di South China Sea ke, sama ada primary productivity tu dia makin menurun ke ataupun dia makin meningkat. And then try to relate kepada SST. SST pun sama ada dia punya trend makin meningkat ataupun trend dia makin menurun ataupun tak ada trend. Okay.
Okay, Doktor. So, kita orang boleh redo balik untuk lulus projek ni.
You boleh buat balik, okay. And then sebelum you hantar you punya proposal lah, submit you punya proposal. dia punya slide proposal tu.
Okay.
So next Wong and
Thank you, Doctor.
okay, sama Wong and Hugh. Tajuk studies on SST chlorophyll, okay, East Coast Peninsula Malaysia.
Good afternoon, Doctor. We are from Group 12, and our topic is the studies of the sea surface temperature and chlorophyll air variation in the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. So the aim of this mini project is to identify how monsoon season affects the sea surface temperature and also the concentration of chlorophyll air at the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. And then so the study area will be at the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia, cover the area of Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang and Johor, and then also within the EEZ of Malaysia.
So we will use the satellite of MODIS Aqua and MODIS Terra in this project. The sensor is the moderate resolution imaging spectral radiometer. The study period of this project is on November 2019 till June 2019. Parameter that we take is the weekly sea surface temperature and chlorophyll air data. We will use both level 2 for chlorophyll air and SST data.
And next is the general methodology. We will obtain the data needed from NASA web and then load the data into ESASnet, project and process the data, and then calculate the monthly anomaly for SST and chlorophyll air concentration. And then finally, we will extract the data and then put it into Excel to create line plot.
So expected result for the SST during May to December is the period of the northeast monsoon. Strong monsoon wind will bring heavy rain and cause a major decrease of aeration and increase the precipitation along the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. So this will result in decrease of SST. Then for the concentration of chlorophyll air, the concentration should be high in the period of northeast monsoon. Strong northerly wind will cause upwelling to occur. High productivity at the east coast cause the increase of concentration of chlorophyll air. During period of the inter-monsoon, content of chlorophyll air is low. So that's all for our proposal.
Okay, thank you. So why November 2018 to June 2019?
Because this is the period of the northeast monsoon.
Northeast monsoon. So you want to focus, okay, on the concentration during northeast monsoon only.
And the inter-monsoon.
Inter-monsoon, okay, northeast monsoon and inter-monsoon. So you have only November, December, 2. Yeah, you pakai apa? You pakai monthly or weekly data?
Weekly data.
Weekly data.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so weekly data, you have to interpolate the weekly data, because okay, when you use weekly data, okay, there are many missing pixel. Okay, so okay, you have to interpolate lah. So you kena masukkan dalam you punya methodology interpolation of weekly data.
Okay.
So you tahu macam mana nak interpolate, nak fill in the missing values. Kenapa gelak? Okay, so saya akan create script. Banyaklah kata saya. Saya akan create R script, okay, to interpolate the missing value. So kita panggil sebagai dine off. Okay, dine off ni dia punya function adalah dia akan analyze the whole data, the whole data, and then based on the spatial trend, okay, So it will guess, okay, the missing value at that pixel. Okay. And then you punya study area di mana?
East Coast of Peninsula Malaysia.
East Coast of Peninsula Malaysia. Okay. So you masukkan dalam you punya ni lah, you punya tu. Okay. So you kena mention weekly data in your methodology, and then you have to mention, okay. So apa nama? Satu lagi method adalah interpolation, data interpolation.
Okay. Okay, doctor.
So you have to remind me lah untuk nak create script.
Okay. Okay, doctor.
So script ni dia bukannya simple script, dia melibatkan simple component analysis. Okay, so you jangan risau pasal script tu. Okay, so you cuma feed the data and then run the R punya function.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so you punya title tu dia studies tu you buang title tu dia tak perlu a studies ke apa ke. Okay, you boleh kata sea surface temperature and chlorophyll variation in the east coast of Peninsula Malaysia. Okay, and then you buat kurungan, okay, November 2018, okay, to June 2019.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you Wong and Hugh. Okay,
Thank you.
and next Tan and Cheong.
Doctor, may I start now?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. We are from Group 13. Today, we will present the mini project proposal with the title, The Relationship Between the Upwelling Process and the Productivity in the Southern South China Sea. In this study, our purpose is to identify the upwelling processes influence the distributions of the marine productivity in the selected study area. In the study area, Southern South China Sea with the coordinates shown in the slide, we will mainly focus on the east coast of Peninsula Malaysia and the west coast of Borneo, Malaysia. And in this study, we will use 2021 year period of SST and chlorophyll A data detected by the Motis Aqua and Terra from the Earth data website.
So for the methodology part, first of all, we conduct this research by using software that require ESASNAP and RStudio. ESASNAP is used for data visualization, while the RStudio is used for measuring statistic calculation. Then the data that we downloaded from level 3 data browser, and the study period we conduct 1 year by using Motis Aqua and Terra data to study the Southern South China Sea. The parameter that measure are sea surface temperature and chlorophyll A. The justification that we download both data from Motis Aqua and Terra that we will merge for prevent the loss of data in the study area. After we downloaded the data, we will processing the data by using RStudio. The data that we downloaded will rearrange and become a clean data to make us more easier to process the next step. Motis Aqua and Terra data will be merged later on. We will calculate the monthly average and anomalies data. For the ESASNAP, we share the study area and will be build the transect line from coastal area to open ocean. The transect line data will be exported for further analysis. In last step, we analyze the data to form a graph to determine the monthly average and anomalies of the chlorophyll A and sea surface temperature in Excel. Next slide. For the expected result, we can conclude that upwelling processes occur in study area by low sea surface temperature, high nutrient and concentration of chlorophyll A, which means during upwelling process, the cold and nutrient-rich deep water will be drawn out from bottom sea to surface water around the coastal region, resulting in decrease in sea surface temperature and an increase chlorophyll A concentration. So chlorophyll A is an indicator of the abundance of phytoplankton, and high nutrient will result high marine productivity in coastal area, while low nutrient level will result low marine productivity in open ocean. Thank you.
Okay, so can you tell me what is the upwelling process? What parameter, okay, will be used to identify or to determine the upwelling process?
We using the parameter is sea surface temperature and chlorophyll A to determine where the area whether got upwelling process or not.
Okay, do you have any index for upwelling?
Until now we still don't got.
Huh? So how you're going to determine upwelling? Is there any index to indicate, okay, the upwelling? Ada index tak? Katakan the ratio between chlorophyll and temperature less than 0.05, okay, indicates, okay, upwelling, strong upwelling, less than that indicate. Ada tak?
Still don't know.
Okay, dia tak ada tak ada. Dia ada tetapi dia dia bukannya dia punya apa nama? Dia punya analisis tu dia bukannya lebih kepada spatial punya coverage. Dia ada cuma line punya apa nama? Measurement, So dia tak tepat. So yang saya recommend, so you identify upwelling zone, upwelling area dekat Peninsula ke, dekat Sabah dan Sarawak. Okay. So you sekarang ni nampak you fokus pada tahun 2020 sahaja. And then you pakai monthly. So kalau you pakai monthly, you cuma ada 12 data sahaja. Dan I think it's not enough, okay, to show, okay, the spatial and seasonal trend. So kalau you nak fokus tahun 2020 saja, it's better you use a weekly data. Okay. Weekly data sama macam apa nama Hugh tadi, Hugh dan Wong. Okay, you have to interpolate, okay, the weekly data. Okay. So you punya study area dia jangan terlalu besar, you focus, okay, especially, okay, at the outwelling area. Dekat Sabah ke, kat Sarawak ke, kat mana-mana ke. And then use the weekly data lah kalau you nak pakai apa nama ataupun you nak fokus cuma untuk tahun 2020 sahaja. So kalau you pakai weekly data, you ada 52 data lah, okay? Untuk SST dan juga untuk chlorophyll. Kalau you pakai monthly, you cuma ada 12 data sahaja dan tak cukup untuk you buat statistik. Okay? So you tengok dia punya apa nama, dia punya SST and chlorophyll trend ataupun seasonal trend of SST and chlorophyll, okay, katakan at outwelling areas, okay, in Peninsula ke, in Sabah Sarawak. But first you have to determine the location of outwelling. Kawasan dia jangan besar, kawasan dia kecil je, jangan besar. Okay, so no need to focus the Southern South China Sea.
Alright.
Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
So, so next is Mai dan Atilah. Study of SST in Terengganu to monitor coral reef health.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and hi to everyone. We are from Group 14 and we will discuss about our mini project. So our tentative title is the study of sea surface temperature in Terengganu to monitor the coral reef health. Our major aim is to monitor the coral reef health in both Redang Island and Bidong Island between both years, which is 2015 and 2020. So this is our study area. And the type of the data that we will take is sea surface temperature and chlorophyll A from Moody's Aqua, and this can be obtained from NOAA, Coral Reef Watch, and also NASA Ocean Command.
Okay, and for general methodology, first download monthly data SST 2015 and to 2020 from NOAA Moody's Aqua, which is obtained from the NASA Ocean Color. Then setting the lat long coordinates, and then compare both data to see the differences of coral health between both here. Describe the chlorophyll and SST influence toward coral. Describe coral reef health between Bidong and Redang Island. Describe the comparison between winter and summer of coral health. And then lastly, explain coral bleaching hotspot and decrease heating rate. Result, basically the coral health for both year can be compared between two seasons during summer. During summer, low coral health happen due to warm temperature and causes the breakdown of the coral and lead to the coral bleaching. While during winter, high coral health or stable coral health too happens due to low temperature. As comparison for both year in 2015, SST is a high drought this year. Due to the occurrence of El Nino, so the coral health is low. While in 2020, SST is low drop this year due to the occurrence of La Nina, so the coral health is high. Tapi tengok juga lah if ada influence factor-factor lain. Ni just based on SST.
Dah.
Dah, that's all from us.
Ada.
Mai.
Ya, saya.
So, Mai untuk perempuan ke lelaki Mio
Ya betul. Saya saya dari Perak.
Dia tak panggil, kalau perempuan dia tak panggil Mio juga
Tak. Perempuan Mai. Ikut jugalah, tapi ada juga yang nama perempuan Puteri. Saya tak tahulah, tapi ayah saya pakai nama perempuan semua Mai. So adik-adik perempuan saya semua Mai.
Tak ada in term of apa nama, dia punya bukan protokol lah, dia memang Mio tu kalau perempuan kena Mai.
Saya tak sure, tapi biasanya orang guna Mio je. Anak perempuan tak kisah, Nur pun ada juga. Tapi ayah saya memang dia memang family saya, saudara mara memang guna Mai.
Okay.
Yang lelaki.
Okay, so the question is, how do you assess the coral reef health?
Basically, we observe the sea surface temperature from.
Macam mana you tahu kalau temperature tinggi coral reef start to bleach ke apa ke?
Itu adalah expected result kami, macam seperti mana yang kita tahu kalau coral reef health tu rendah. Kalau coral reef health tu rendah, dan adalah berlakunya breakdown of coral.
Tak ada, macam mana you nak assess dia punya coral reef? Macam ni assess.
Kami
macam
tengok kami tengok dekat CRW, Coral Reef Watch, di mana dekat situ ada SST coral temperature yang kita boleh tengok, yang kita boleh access dekat situ dia punya coral reef condition.
Coral reef condition, that one is a daily kan?
Daily
Dia bagi daily.
Daily 5 km.
Okay, so kalau you nak pakai monthly, you kena average kan dia kepada monthly. Okay, sebagai contoh katakan you nak fokus katakan pada bulan Julai, okay, kata SST tinggi. And then you pergi kepada Coral Reef Watch ni, and then you download daily data selama 30 hari, and then you average kan, jadikan dia sebagai monthly. I'm not sure sama ada kalau you ada 10 data bermaksud bahawa you kena download 300 data lah. And then you average kan dia.
Oh, okay. Sebab saya ada ambil kursus ambil course subjek CRCC dengan Dr. Jenny, perubahan iklim coral reef ni. Jadi dia ada bincang pasal SST melalui kalau nak tengok condition of coral reef. So nanti mungkin saya boleh tanya Dr. Jenny untuk lebih penerangan pasal
You boleh ambil kat sini sebab dia ada dia ada 7 day punya alert, dia punya hotspot. Okay, stress, tak stress, warning and so on. Okay, and then dia bagi dalam bentuk map. Okay, regional image.
Okay.
Dan kalau you nak pakai data monthly SST, so yang coral reef bleaching heat stress ni, you kena averagekan dia, katakan 7 day. 7 day bermaksud bahawa ada 4 data lah. Weekly ada 4 data and then you kena averagekan. And then baru you boleh compare dengan monthly SST.
Oh, faham.
Okay. Tetapi kalau you nak pakai SST daripada Coral Reef Watch directly, you boleh compare je sebab dia bagi daily dan juga dia bagi weekly.
Oh,
You faham tak saya?
faham.
Sebagai contoh, you pergi kepada Coral Reef Watch, you download katakan data SST, dia bagi SST Coral, okay, daily ataupun weekly, and then you identify the period. Saya tak sure dia boleh bagi data yang historical data dia boleh bagi tak? Sebab dia bagi kat sini saya tengok dia adalah pada 15 Mei. Data-data tahun lepas kat mana nak dapat?
Ya doktor, ada. Ada boleh tukar, ada untuk masukkan masa. Tarikh kat bawah.
Okay, kalau boleh, and then you boleh pakai 7 days punya data, and then semua data you kena download daripada Coral Reef Watch. Okay. And then you boleh buat weekly punya data, and then you buat analisis lah. Analisis kalau kat situ dia bagi no data, no stress, and then you kena indexkan dia. Kalau no stress, maksud dia 1. Kalau wash, 2. Warning, 3. Alert, 4. Okay. So, bila you buat analisis, dia ada index dia, and then you boleh buat correlation lah dengan you punya SST.
Oh, okay, faham. Jadi doktor, boleh ke kami guna untuk 2 kawasan iaitu Pulau Bidong dengan Pulau Redang?
Pulau Bidong, Pulau Redang, the problem is you punya Coral Reef Watch punya satellite data, dia punya resolution is a 5 km.
Yeah. Jadi kami kena ambil macam kalau kami ambil East Coast Peninsula Malaysia boleh ke doktor?
You boleh ambil East Coast lah, tak ada masalah pun.
Sebab kalau macam ambil 2 spesifik place ni macam kecil sangat. Memang kecil memang.
Dia memang terlalu kecil ataupun you fokus kepada katakan di kawasan perairan bawah Kuala Terengganu. Mana kawasan Kuala Terengganu lah termasuk Kapas, termasuk pulau apa bawah tu, saya pun tak ingat.
Okay.
Bahagian-bahagian tu lah pulau-pulau kat situ.
Kawasan tapi dia you kena ingat dia 5 km maknanya dia you kena pakai data yang lebih besar sikit lah. Kalau kawasan you katakan 20 km baru you dapat 4 pixel. At least you ada banyak pixel sikit lah, more than katakan 50 pixels ke, okay, to represent your study area. Okay. So data mesti daripada Coral Reef Watch juga. Sebab dia bagi weekly, dia bagi daily kat sini. Okay. So dia bukan daripada Moody's daripada sini. Okay. Coral Reef Watch dia pakai data daripada NOAA, AVHRR.
Okay, AVHRR.
Ya.
Okay, terima kasih doktor.
Okay, sama. Next, Tan dan Nurul Syahira.
Okay, Assalamualaikum dan selamat petang. Jadi tajuk kami ialah The Effects of Progression of ENSO towards Surface Chlorophyll in Southern South China Sea. For the major aims, the first one is to determine the distribution pattern of chlorophyll and its correlation with ENSO, and the second one is to determine the impacts of ENSO towards the variability of chlorophyll in South China Sea. Okay, so this is our study area in Southern South China Sea. Next.
Lagi.
Okay, for types of data, kami pilih dua, which is chlorophyll concentration and sea surface temperature anomalies. Both types of this data daripada level 3, and for chlorophyll concentration, kami ambil dari Ocean Colour website and the Modis Aqua, and SST anomaly from NOAA website.
Oh, NOAA dia bagi SST anomaly ya?
Ada doktor yang
I took it from the NOAA, the Coral Reef. They give a link to this website.
Coral Reef. That one is a weekly. It's not monthly.
No, yeah, but how to say? They have the year by year. So I just took the year by year.
Year by year. From Coral Reef Watch.
I don't know, but they have the link. This link that leads to this website. So I just
website.
NOAA for
This one is for 50 kilometer.
Oh.
Your chlorophyll from Modis is 1 and 4 kilometer. So you cannot compare with a different resolution of data. You tak boleh compare 50 kilometer and then satu lagi 1 kilometer or 4 kilometer. So you should derive your own temperature anomaly.
Okay.
Using Modis ni lah Aqua. Okay, lagi.
Okay, so the methodology is that first we'll get the data from from the respective websites, and then for the duration, for El Nino we'll be taking from 2015 to 2016, and for La Nina it will be 2017 to 2018. So this is in each year we'll be taking about 4 months because the SST has shown a seasonal cycle. So and then we'll subset the data to the subset region and study region, and then we'll apply the color scheme, and then we'll compare the anomalies to the chlorophyll data. So generally, in La Nina, we can expect increased chlorophyll concentration because of increased upwelling, and the reverse happens in the El Nino. And this has proven true in the case study where there is higher productivity in the normal winter as compared to the El Nino.
Okay, so thank you. So, boleh tunjuk balik tak you punya title? What do you mean by the progression of ENSO?
Means that we are seeing how the El Nino changes to La Nina and their effects on the chlorophyll. Basically, we're seeing the timeline.
The progression of ENSO. Why not just a simple title? Okay. Impacts of ENSO on chlorophyll in the Southern South China Sea.
Okay.
Okay, so your objective. Okay, to determine the impacts. Okay, what analysis you are going to use to identify the impact of ENSO on the variability of chlorophyll?
The sea surface temperature anomalies and the sea surface temperature anomalies.
I mean analysis. What kind of analysis you are going to use?
Like ISASNA?
Analysis. What types of analysis? Analysis apa yang you nak pakai untuk nak apa nama identify the impacts?
I thought about using the time series, but so far I haven't tried it yet.
Time series?
Like see on this day, then what the concentration of chlorophyll in the 4 years?
Time series dia cuma bagi dia punya spatial and dia punya temporal pattern sahaja. So impact tu macam mana kita impact? Impact biasanya kita pakai satu spatial correlation, yang kedua you pakai CWT. So CWT is saya tak ingat. Okay, continuous wavelength transform. Pernah dengar?
No, not really.
Huh?
Tak
CWT
pernah.
continuous wavelength transform. Okay, so biasanya kita guna untuk nak tengok impact of ENSO. Kalau you buat time series, just a pattern. A pattern of apa nama? ENSO, a pattern of SST. Okay. So unless you baca sikit pasal CWT, how to interpret, saya ingat saya share sikit, saya share dia punya CWT punya ni lah. Ya, CWT punya output. FYP setelah figures power. Saya share je dari konten. Okay, nampak ni
Yes, yes.
This one is a continuous wavelength transform. Okay. So dia ada year, dia ada correlation strength, okay, from 0 to 1. Okay, merah tu is a very strong. And then dia ada period. Okay. And then dia ada arrow. Setiap arrow atas, bawah, kiri, kanan, okay, dia ada meanings dia tersendiri lah. So kalau macam sini, dia ada good correlation between net primary productivity and oceanic Nino index, okay, at a period of 32 months. Okay, 32 months. Okay. Dia bukan setiap 8 bulan ni bulan And then kalau you tengok kat sini, dia punya apa nama, dia punya arrow kat atas tu, okay, bermaksud bahawa kalau sebelah kiri, okay, so kalau NPP tinggi, ONI rendah. Okay, kalau ONI tinggi, that means temperature tinggi, okay, so NPP dia akan rendah. So kalau you boleh interpret, okay, di CWT, so kita boleh tahu dia punya impact. So dekat sini kita tengok impact dia ada isolated impact, okay, in 2006 and in 2015, okay, for a period of 6 months. Okay, nampak ni, kita tukar 6 months, 4, 6, 8. 6 months. Okay, so kalau kita tengok kat sini, and then you boleh kata dia ada impact daripada El Nino. Sebab ini adalah daripada tahun 2015. Nampak kat sini. Okay. Begitu juga pada tahun 2006, dia juga ada impact daripada El Nino. Okay. So dia juga ada impact, tapi impact ni it's not significant because of what? Because it takes nearly 32 months. Okay. 32 month baru nampak impact lah. That means dia ada long term punya impacts. Selalunya dia tak relate kepada ONI lah. Yang biasa relate kepada ONI adalah di antara Okay, 0 to 8 months. So bila berlakunya katakan El Nino, biasanya impact dia tu dia berlaku 2-3 bulan ataupun 6 bulan ke hadapan. Ini baru you boleh tunjuk ada impact lah. So kalau you boleh pandai interpret, so saya ni balik dia. Stop sharing. So kalau you boleh interpret you punya apa nama CWT ni, so saya boleh tunjuk cara untuk nak apa nama create that apa nama figures for CWT. So you boleh share balik tak Tan, you punya tu slide.
Where Doctor? Organizing.
Okay, so that's the impact yang you kena ambil kira juga.
Doctor, the CWT, is it like R or is it like ISASNAP?
Dalam R, ISASNAP tak boleh buat.
Oh, okay. So I have to get the code from online?
Apa dia?
So I have to get the code from the website?
Tak ada, saya yang create code.
Okay.
So you just feed the inputs. Okay. So first you have to calculate the anomaly. Okay, and then extract the value, and then put in a table in Excel, save it as a CSW, and then fit into the R script.
Okay. Doctor, how do we extract the anomaly?
You buat line macam amali tu
Like just the same process.
you calculate the anomaly, and then you extract, you buat line lah to represent your study area.
So we can reuse the script?
You boleh pakai script yang saya bagi tu, yang saya dalam amali tu. Kan dia bagikan how to extract value from shapefile.
Okay, got it.
Okay, Doctor.
Okay, so next saya ingat dah 450, ada 2 orang 16 sampai ke 17 So next Teh dan Chong.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, sama.
Doctor, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Very good morning to Dr. Sufyan and friends. I'm Tay from Group 16 along with my partner Chong. So our tentative title for our mini project is Coastal Upwelling Impact on SST and Primary Productivity in Sabah Coastal Waters. So as we know, there is an upwelling in the coastal region of Sabah. So the aim for this project is to investigate the difference in SST and the chlorophyll A concentration during upwelling events in the Sabah coastal water for the year of 2020. We would like to find out when the coastal upwelling is likely to occur in Sabah coastal water and in which month. So for the study area and required data, Chong will be explaining on that.
So now the figure 1 shows our study area, which is located at Sabah in Malaysia, and in this project we used to study the coastal water of Sabah, as shown in this figure lah. Next, we use the satellite data which taken from the Ocean Color Web from the NASA website, and the sensor used is MODIS, and the satellite is Aqua and Terra. The parameters we use is SST and the chlorophyll air concentration, and we decided to do a research from we do a study from the year 2020, which is from January to December.
So for the general methodology, first we are going to download the SST and chlorophyll A satellite data from the databases in the NetCDF format. And next we will process the image and subset our region of interest using the RStudio. And following by that, we will carry out an operation of monthly mean and anomaly for each month, and we will produce an image of monthly average maps for both SST and chlorophyll A. And finally, we will create a polygon shape near the coast of the Sabah water and extract the information into the Excel format. And the data extracted will be plotted into line graph to study the average and monthly anomaly of the SST and chlorophyll A. Information and interpretation of the results obtained will be carried out, and mostly using the RStudio command. And the expected result we are going to get is we will obtain the monthly average image for the SST and chlorophyll A concentration for year 2020 as shown in the figure as an example. And line graph will also be plotted for the anomaly changes monthly, and the statistic of the SST and chlorophyll A concentration will be obtained as shown in the figure 5, which is the way we plot our graph. And that's all from us today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tay and Chong. You kata cost hourly impact on SST, okay? So you will use monthly or weekly data?
Sebab starting I fikirkan nak use yang weekly. So weekly lepas tu saya nak buat macam average, so boleh ketahui month mana yang dia punya SST atau chlorophyll A dia lebih tinggi. So kami nak macam buat comparison between every month of 2020.
So, okay, you will use weekly data.
Yes.
Okay, so sama macam tadi siapa? Tak. So you kena buat interpolation sebab data biasanya okay dia it's not very good coverage. Okay, chlorophyll, SST is okay, but chlorophyll dia banyak missing value.
Doktor, kalau macam kata kami extend yang itu from monthly to yearly, kami kena buat interpolation lagi juga?
Tak perlu.
Tak perlu.
Sebab you pakai satu tahun you ada 12 data sahaja. It's not enough, okay, for spatial analysis, for statistical analysis.
Oh, doktor, yang minimum data required untuk buat analisis tu berapa?
Dia at least ada 30 data.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so kalau you dapat setahun, you boleh buat weekly. Weekly, that means you have at least 52 data, 52 data. But for the weekly, you have to interpolate.
Okay, faham.
Okay.
Doktor boleh tolong prepare script?
Saya tak ada masalah pun. Kita panggil sebagai dine off. Okay. Dine off. Okay. Analysis to interpolate. That means to fill in or to guess. Okay. The pixel value. Okay. Tak ada masalah pun, saya boleh buat lah. And then you fit your data, semua data tu dalam R. So you run je. So dia akan buat interpolation, data interpolation based on the trend of your data, trend selama 52 bulan. That's okay, 52 minggu.
Okay, faham doktor.
Coastal outwelling impact. So kalau tajuk tu macam mana nak tengok coastal outwelling impact?
Macam yang sebab pada outwelling, so nak tengok yang tu perbezaan SST dan macam mana SST tu affect yang primary productivity dekat Sabah coastal water.
Dia coastal outwelling and SST impact kan?
Ya.
On primary productivity.
Okay.
Okay, dia bukan coastal outwelling impact on SST, coastal outwelling and SST impact on primary productivity.
Okay.
So thank you Chong. So next kita ada beberapa 3 minit lagi. Okay, Alia Juliana.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much.
Doktor, kami minta maaf, tapi boleh tak kami present esok sebab kami rasa macam kami memerlukan penerangan yang panjang. Sebab kami macam banyak juga lah
Blur.
kekeliruan. Kekeliruan, rasa macam nak kena repair.
Okay, so Aslina Haizi.
Boleh Doktor.
Okay.
Boleh.
Boleh terlebih sikit Ada kelas lepas ni.
Saya tak ada Doktor, tak tahu yang lain.
Okey je Doktor.
Elective.
Boleh tak okay, 5 minit dia orang ni?
Ada Doktor.
Boleh tak? Tirap.
Boleh.
Siapa yang tak boleh tu boleh tak apalah, you pergi ke kelas lain. So siapa yang ada kelas boleh discuss, boleh keluar daripada ni.
Okey, Assalamualaikum dan selamat petang kepada doktor dan kawan-kawan. Kami daripada Grup 18 ingin present mini proposal mini project kami. Tajuk proposal mini project kami, the variability of chlorophyll A and its relationship with the occurrence of harmful algal blooms in South China Sea. So the major aim is to analyze the relationship of chlorophyll A concentration with the occurrence of harmful algal blooms during southwest monsoon in west coast of Sabah. So ni tadi area kami dekat western coast of Sabah. Types of data yang kami akan gunakan, MODIS level 3 SST dengan chlorophyll A. Source of data we will get from NASA Ocean Color. General methodology, first kami akan download data from NASA Ocean Color. Then we will export SST image display in western coast of Sabah. Next, we will create mask using longitude mask in western coast of Sabah. And lastly, we will extract and analysis data, histogram and scatter plot for chlorophyll A concentration. And our expected result, surface temperature, we expected to be low. Chlorophyll A concentration, we expected to be high. And lastly, harmful algal bloom occurrence, we expected to be high. So conclusion, the higher concentration of chlorophyll A, the higher occurrence of harmful algal blooms. Okay, that's all, Doctor. Thank you.
Okay. So Haizi, you answer apa Haizi?
Ada.
Saya ingat ni je seorang
Umairah.
Kan, seorang yang
Alia. Nurul
Syarifat. Okay, so relationship with appearance of harmful algal bloom. Okay, so the question is how do you determine the harmful algal bloom?
Kami akan determine based on concentration chlorophyll A. Kalau kita kami nampak concentration dia tinggi, kami assume harmful algal blooms dia tinggi waktu itu.
Chlorophyll concentration dia tak tak tunjuk pun harmful atau belum. Algal belum. So how do you relate concentration with algal tu harmful atau belum?
Based concentration data salah.
Concentration kita saya kata dia tak tunjukkan concentration, dia tak tunjukkan sama ada yang belum adalah harmful algal. Dia mungkin algal yang tak harmful. Okay, so bila masih harmful ni, so you have to determine what type of algal that we can class into HHPP.
Jadi maksudnya dia buang harmful tu lah.
Buang, kalau you buang harmful, chlorophyll and relationship with current the equivalent of algal belum tak kena juga sebab chlorophyll dah memang you dah jatuh dia punya viability. So the best way is as a rating of chlorophyll A and SST. So you punya data berapa lama you kan?
5 tahun.
5 tahun, so you ada 12 tahun data. And then yang you fokus lah you punya area. Okay, ataupun you fokus kepada area yang especially kat Sabah, kat mana area yang selalu punya harmful algal. So dalam artikel katakan di Parlimen Sabah, kawasan dia dan you ada access data dekat kawasan tersebut, and then you define, and then you boleh assume bahawa kalau profit tinggi, and then boleh relate pada HHPP. Okay. HHPP itu dalam punya definition dalam analisis. You boleh assume, you boleh buat nama speculation. Tapi jangan letak dalam artikel. Okay, so bila you pernah ada analisis on HHPP. Okay, so kita akan sambung setelah kita ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 jam. So kita cuba pada pukul 4. So terima kasih semua
Thank you, Doctor.
Terima kasih.